Blockchain is essentially a distributed data set that consists of a number of components, including a ledger, a smart contract functionality, and then the inherent anonymity associated with decentralization and disintermediation. It's, for lack of better expression, a database that allows you to subscribe to particular services in a public, a private, or a consortium manner. Gartner rates blockchain currently at the peak of inflated expectations. For lack of better expression, databases are cool again right now. But the potential use cases that blockchain sees for this technology are very broad across a number of industries. We're already seeing it being used in the cryptocurrency market to disrupt some of the banking and financial systems. We're already seeing some element of adoption further in Wall Street associated with high-frequency transactions. But there's also a lot of interest in that kind of community around using it just as a public ledger for things like real estate transactions and public information. So the potential use cases are very broad. From a healthcare perspective, we think of it as perhaps resolving some of the interoperability issues associated with health data exchange, but also solving some of the patient privacy, but also potentially capturing some of the consent decrees that are baked into HIPAA and regulations that we comply with. One interesting use case associated with the blockchain is that as a credentialing source. So both as an identity claim process, but also authentication and authorization. Once you have this central record, either in a public or a private or consortium fashion, multiple parties can subscribe to that record and leverage it for different uses. That can include just an authentication source, but also perhaps roles or indeed the attributes associated with you from an identity perspective. You as a subscriber to that service from a user can then choose to do things like encrypt or sign elements of those attributes that you choose to make public. As a corporation, you can choose to leverage that technology in things like smart contracts or some of the autonomous systems that you can build on top of these ledgers, so that once something is published to a ledger in a very expedient manner, you can build out some sort of threshold or trigger to take action upon that data. There's a lot of use cases in the credentialing, and certainly we expect it to grow broadly. Last year, the ONC that regulates HIPAA established a blockchain challenge. And in establishing that challenge, they wanted the healthcare industry to come together and identify potential use cases for blockchain. There was about 70 different submissions associated with that ONC challenge and 15 eventual awards to people to engage and action those use cases that they found viable from the ONC's perspective. Partners Healthcare, the corporation that I work for, did submit one use case around adverse medical reactions, and we were unfortunately not one of the eventual awardees, but we have high hopes to see the eventual use cases mature and blockchain become much more widely adopted within healthcare. I highly encourage interested parties and corporations that want to investigate the technology to look at a lot of the public information that's available. There's a number of technologies like OpenChain, Intel Sawtooth, the IBM Hyperledger. There's also the Bitcoin blockchain, there's Ethereum. There's a number of resources that are available. There's a number of conferences, there's meetups. I encourage people to attend those to learn more about the technology. As much as the potential, as Gartner indicates, is very disruptive, the industry as a whole needs to come together and conduct due diligence to make sure that those use cases are real.